All right, so continuing on with the story, the first psych ward that my family tried to put me in, the doctor said I didn't have schizophrenia. He kept me there for a week because he wanted to see if I had bipolar disorder. At the end of the week, he said I didn't have bipolar disorder. It's a long story. What else happened in there? It was kind of crazy, but they let me out, and they told my mom I did not have a mental illness. Then my mom said she wasn't gonna give me a place to stay unless I took medicine because she thought I had schizophrenia. Then she tried to force me into another psych ward, but the psych ward wouldn't take me because I didn't have any symptoms of mental illness. Then my mom and dad said I had to stay on the streets. So then I told the police that I was suicidal so that they would let me into the psych ward so that I could talk to the doctor, so the doctor could talk to my parents and tell them to stop trying to make me take medicine. But then when I got in the psych ward, my mom, the doctor said that I didn't have a mental illness at first. And then he said, yeah, okay, I'll talk to your parents about it. Well, he said that he couldn't talk to my parents because he said I had to write, that's another part of the story. I had to write out a permission thing that he could talk to them. And he said that he wouldn't talk to them after I was out. But I didn't want to write the permission thing that he could talk to them because I didn't want them to try to keep me in the psych ward. So I was like, all right, never mind. I'm not going to do that. But then I called my grandma and I told my grandma, can you, give me a place to stay? The doctor said I don't have a mental illness. And my grandma then blackmailed me saying, if I don't let my parents talk to the doctor, my mom said that she's going to throw away my DVDs, my basketball DVDs. And that's what I wanted from the very beginning, since the beginning of college. I wanted to first off study the swag flow, which I lost my sophomore year of college. I'm not going to get into details of what that is. But, people don't realize it's like dance. If you can study what the moves that you did, you could reproduce them. But I need to have the videos to see. And I was considered one of the best players in the nation. I want to see what I did. And I want to be able to reproduce it. Now, it was only till at this time, you see, the thing is my grandpa doesn't believe me because at this time, my shot was still off because I hadn't really studied the DVDs in detail. It was only when I was playing with Compton College when I really started because I never knew that I could fix my shot. I knew the shoot away messed up my shot, but I didn't know I could fix it. When I was playing with Compton College, that's when I started really trying to duplicate what I saw, how I moved into my shots. And I really started figuring things out. And then I started shooting a lot better, but I still would like more DVDs. I still would like more videos so I could study more because I was considered one of the best shooters in the nation. And I want to see what I did so I could duplicate it. But the shoot away machine messed up my shot and everything. So now my muscle memory is messed up. So I need to see now, at the time I was unconscious, so it didn't matter. But now I need to see the videos to see what I did. But anyways, so they blackmailed me. So then my parents talked to the doctor. Then the doctor said, okay, we'll try to make him take the medicine. And so then he told me, they had me talk to a judge. And then he said, if I take a shot, then in 2 days, then he'll let me out. And I'll be sent to an outpatient program in San Diego where my aunt lived. And the idea was if I stayed in the outpatient program and I took my medicine, then my aunt would let me stay with her. So I was like, okay, just get me out of here. So give me the shot and get me out of here. And my plan was once I get this shot, I'm going to go to San Diego, go to the outpatient program, and I'm going to get out of there. And I'm just going to live on the streets or something because I just wanted to get out of the freaking psych ward stuff now. So they gave me the shot. First time I ever been to psych ward, never been diagnosed. The first doctor said I didn't have schizophrenia. He said I didn't have any mental illness. How could a month later all of a sudden I have a mental illness? It's because I didn't. I never had one. And even my grandpa was a psychologist with a PhD, said I didn't have a mental illness. And he was flabbergasted that this happened. Now, like I said, I tried to call my grandpa and he said, and I tried to ask him, can you get me out of here? And he didn't help me. But he told me that he thought I was lying because he said, you didn't have any symptoms of mental illness. How is it even possible that they were holding you against your will? Now, that's the other thing. So then even when I got my shot, there was a black nurse and she was like, okay, this says that you need to get a Risperdal shot. And she looked at me and she said, you don't have, a behavior disorder or whatever? She looked at me. She was like, you don't have any, I forget the word that she used, you don't have any emotional problems or anything. And because I'm a freaking normal person. I'm very calm. I'm a very calm person. I barely talk. I don't have no fucking schizophrenia, you dumbasses. I don't have any fucking bipolar. I don't have any of that stuff. I'm very calm, quiet person. I barely ever even talk. I'm very quiet. I'm talking now because I'm giving a story. But in real life, I rarely talk. So she's looking at me. She's like, you don't have any, I forget the word, like, you don't have any, what was it, emotional disorder? Yeah, she says, I'm like, you don't have any emotional disorder. And she was like, this is so crazy. She said, she was like, this can't be right. And then so she called the doctor. I'm not making this up. She called the doctor. She was like, she was certain there was a mistake because she probably knew how fucking serious this Risperdal shot was. So she was like, so she called the doctor and she was in the doctor didn't answer. She was like, yeah, I don't think that this is accurate. Like, I don't think this is correct. I think that, there was a mistake made. I have to talk to the doctor. Anyway, so she talked to the doctor later and the doctor was like, yes, no, this is right. I ordered a Risperdal shot for him. So she was like, and I remember when I looked at her, she looked like she was in fear. Like, she was like, what? And then she like looked at me. She was like, okay, well, hopefully you're going to be okay. She took me to the room and she gave me the shot. She stuck it in my butt. I had to pull down my pants. She stuck it in my butt. I was laying on the bed and I got the shot. Now, it takes 2 weeks for it to start ejecting the Risperdal into your system through called microspheres. I did the research later. So I get the shot and I'm like, okay, whatever. Then they let me out of the psych ward and I go to San Diego and I go to an outpatient program. It was funny because my mom's cleaning lady drove me to San Diego and her niece was with her. And the niece was like, you don't seem like you have a mental illness. Like the whole ride, she's like, you don't have a mental illness. And my cleaning lady was like, yeah, Ryan doesn't have a mental illness. She was like, what's going on? Like, everyone's like, what's going on? You don't have a mental illness. But my mom and dad are certain I have a mental illness. I'm certain, he's got a mental illness. Because they're freaking stuck in high school. They still think that I'm the same person in high school. And they think that, they don't know that the shoot away machine was a problem. They think there was something wrong with me. They don't know that none of this stuff would have happened if it wasn't for the shoot away machine. It really is all that happened. And it was a tragic, horrible situation, but they're stuck in that. And I want to, I'd like to talk to them. And they have these rules. No talk about the past. All that stuff. It just made things so weird and bizarre. With my grandpa came in and he didn't know what was going on. And I'm going to get more into it, but they freaking did a horrible job. They set up conditions to make me, horrifying conditions for me, just terrible conditions that led to terrible suffering. I'm going to get to this. But so I get back to San Diego and then they take me to the outpatient program. I'm staying at my aunt's house and then they take me to the outpatient program. Now, the outpatient program, they give me the test, like some sort of like test, like, how do you feel? Are you, suicidal? Do you have racing thoughts? Do you have do you hear voices? All that stuff. And basically after all that, they were like, okay, you don't really need to come. Yeah, that's what they said. They said, you don't seem to be mentally ill at all. Like, you don't need to come here. So they weren't going to make me go to the outpatient program. So then my aunt went ballistic. My aunt came and she went ballistic. And now my aunt has like you said, it's my mom and my aunt. They're rich, but they're not very smart. But they think they know everything. So my aunt starts flipping out and she starts yelling at the lady. And she's like, he has schizophrenia. He's seriously mentally ill. And you need to accept him. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I can't. She's going crazy. She's losing her mind. So then they're like, the lady was like, whoa, this is weird. So they're like, okay. They eventually gave in. They're like, okay, we'll let him in, but we were only going to have him come. So I went to the thing, okay? I went to the first day of the outpatient program. Then after the first day of the outpatient program, they said he only needs to come once a week. Because again, I didn't have any symptoms of mental illness. I wasn't doing anything crazy. They're like, he only needs to come once a week. The rule my aunt had agreed to was that if I wasn't going to go to the outpatient program, I had to go 3 times a week. So this is, again, and this is where everything backfired for my aunt because I started to see how crazy my aunt was. And it's the same with my mom. See, now people know my mom. They know she's normal. Like, yeah, she's normal. But they don't know that the hatred that she has for me is because of the shoot-away machine, because of the stuff that happened with the basketball. And I described that in the earlier parts of the story, in the early videos. So then I go, so then my aunt comes in and she starts to scream at the nurses. He has schizophrenia. He's seriously mentally ill. He needs to come here 3 times a week. I cannot believe this. Like, I'm not, like, it seems like I'm exaggerating. That's the way she is. She's just freaking crazy. So, because she's like, she has, there's no morality. There's no, like, control. She's just, like, acting ballistic. And then so the people at the psych ward are like, whoa, this lady has some serious issues. And they're looking at me and I'm like, I'm a quiet, calm person. I'm quiet. That's the way I always am. I'm very quiet, very calm. So then they're like, whoa, something's going on. So then I talk to the doctor and I tell the doctor, I don't have a mental illness. I would like to get it redacted because, okay, what I was doing when I was at my aunt's house, one, I went to San Diego and I talked to my friend Bucky, who worked at a psych ward, and he told me what to do. And he told me, he was like, yeah, you need to get this stuff redacted and just have them give you the MMPI and stuff. So, like, really, this is miracles. Like, I could have, if I didn't have the help I had, like, my friend Bucky's a Jewish guy, and he worked at a psych ward, and I bumped into him when I was homeless, when I was left out the first psych ward, when they said I didn't have a mental illness. And he told me what to do. He was like, yeah, just tell them, get it redacted, have them give you the MMPI, and have them give you all that stuff, and then they're going to not make you take the medicine. But he was like, you got to do that. And then, so then I did some research online and I started watching YouTube videos, and it was and it basically told me what to say. Like, so I told the doctor, I was like, yeah, I don't have a mental illness. I don't have any delusions. I don't adhere. I don't hold firmly to any beliefs that are not culturally appropriate. I don't have any, and I basically told her that stuff. So I was like, so I'd like to have MMPI done, and I'd like to get, the diagnosis of schizophrenia or whatever redacted, because I definitely don't have that. I don't have the schizophrenia, I don't have bipolar, I don't have anything. So then the doctor was like, okay, we're going to give you the test. Now, they didn't give me the test at the second psych ward, because I had asked the doctor, can you give me the MMPI? Because I told him my friend Bucky gave me the MMPI and said I didn't have any mental illness. And he was like, no, we don't do the MMPI here. So then I'm at the outpatient program. So then, now, one of the reasons why the doctor said that she gave me the test was because she's noticed how crazy my aunt was and how, like, immature she was and stuff. And she was starting to become a little concerned. So they gave me the MMPI, and then they gave me interviews, and then they gave me an IQ test. On the IQ test, I think I got 124 was my score. Now, I don't know if I'm usually higher than that or lower than that. I don't know. But that's what they gave me at that point. So, and then for the MMPI, they said, you don't have any mental illness. And then for the interviews, they said, I don't have any mental illness. So then they said, okay, they redacted it. So they wrote it out. They said, I don't have a mental illness and stuff. Then my aunt came. And my aunt was like, going ballistic again. What? He's mentally ill, blah, blah. And then this is what they told him. This is what the nurse told my aunt. We like sat down, and there was like two nurses there. And she was like, no, because my aunt was like, he tricked the doctor, and then they had my mom on the phone too. They called my mom, and my mom was like, he's very smart. He tricked you guys. He's, and so, but they were like, no, you can't trick a doctor. If you have a mental illness, you can't trick him. So then they're like, yeah, he doesn't have a mental illness. But like I said, I'm just lucky that I had someone tell me what to do. My friend Bucky told me what to do. Otherwise, I don't know. I could be at this point, I'd be a vegetable. So, and I'm going to get to that. So at this point, the drug hadn't started secreting in my system. Remember, they gave me the shot, and it's going to start releasing microspheres, but it takes 2 weeks before it starts to release. So right now I just have the thing in my butt, but I didn't know it didn't start to secrete yet. I didn't even know how it works. So I thought that it was already done in my system. I was like, okay, I thought it was just going to be like, they put it in there and then maybe for 2 days, it's going to be doing something. So I was like, this drug isn't even bad at all. I was like, this doesn't do anything to me. So then I took the test and I did all the stuff. I don't have any mental illness. They said that. They gave me the MMPI. They said that you can't trick the MMPI. And then, but my mom was screaming at them. She was like, my mom said, I don't want anything to do with him. I just want him out of my life. I want him to be independent. And then you see, again, she's parroting my grandpa, because my grandpa says, oh, Ryan needs to be independent. But my grandpa even says that my mom has predator prey software, and he cast pearls of swine. She doesn't understand what he's saying. Now, he's not saying that to be hurtful to him and like neglect him and not listen to him and be an evil mother. But my mom didn't know that. So my mom's like, I just want him out of my life. I don't want anything to do with him. I just want him to be independent. And then but then the nurses were like, whoa, you can't talk to your son like that, to say you want him out of your life. You don't want anything to do with him. They're like, so long as you act like that, he's going to try to force you to have something to do with him. Like, he doesn't want this to happen. He doesn't want to be cast out of your life. And then my mom was shocked, because for my whole life, the whole time, my mom always had my grandpa not say anything. Because I told my grandpa, well, if my mom has predator prey software, why don't you tell her? And then my grandpa's like, no, I can't tell her because she hasn't asked the question. I don't give answers until people ask the question. So he screwed her up to begin with, but then he won't fix it. You know, he screwed her up with this whole no talk about the past and make him independent, and then he won't fix it. Because, basically my grandpa made things so bad for me. Like, I really think if it wasn't for my grandpa, things would not have gone so horrible. So my mom was like, what? On the phone. So I'm like, huh? Like, these nurses are saying not to try to make him independent, but isn't independence good? Doesn't grandpa always talk about independence? She didn't say that, but that's what she's going on through her mind. Because, like, she's thinking, like, huh? I thought that all psychologists are like Ryan's grandpa, and it's all about independence. No. So, so my mom's like, what? And then, but then my mom was like, but he has schizophrenia. He can't work. He has schizophrenia. And she was like, and he needs the Social Security. So then the nurses were like, whoa, so you're trying to get him to go to the psych ward so you can get Social Security for him? And they're like, this is making it even worse. Like, that's illegal to do that. So then they're like, now this is even more serious than we thought. So, and it is true. A big reason my mom wanted me in the psych wards was so that she could try to get me to take Social Security money. But she really did think I had schizophrenia and that I couldn't work. But the thing was, like, the fucking thing is, I was doing so, if they would just listen to me, help me get basketball videos, study the basketball videos, I would have been a famous rapper because I can always write good raps if I'm playing basketball. I would have been a famous poet. I would have been doing great stuff. I could have been doing great stuff, really. And I discovered the theory of everything, the quadrant model. If I just had a little bit of support, all this crazy stuff would not have happened. If they wouldn't have sent me to Kauai, like I said, everything spiraled. It all would not have happened if they just would have listened to me, talked to me, treated me like a normal human being. But they didn't do that. And I'm not freaking making it up. It just would not have happened. So then my mom is like, she's like, but then my mom was like, he can't, then my aunt was like, he can't do anything on his own. She was like, because I had to, like, go to the doctor for something. Like, I had to check up with the doctor, and she was like, and my aunt was like, he has to go to a doctor's appointment, and he doesn't even know how to set up a doctor's appointment. Of course I didn't know how to set up a doctor's appointment. I just got out of college, and then so the nurses were like, well, have you ever taught him how to set it up? And then my aunt was like, no. And then they were like, well, does he have an insurance card? And my aunt was like, yes. But they're like, well, have you shown, does he know that he hasn't? And like, I was like, I don't know, I have an insurance card. I don't know any of this stuff. And then they're like, well, how do you expect him to do stuff if you never taught him how to do any of this stuff? So nurses were taking my side. And to my mom and my aunt, they were like, what? They're taking his side? And the nurses are like, no, yeah, if you never taught him how to use an insurance card and how to do this stuff, and how do you expect him to do it? And I'm like, yeah, exactly. They never taught me how to do anything, not one thing. Because like I said, in high school, I was kicked out of my house because of the shoot-away machine problem and the basketball stuff. But they think there was something wrong with me. It wasn't. If it wasn't for the shoot-away, none of this stuff would have happened. And I'm going to get more into details on that. But it's like, so then my aunt and my mom are like, huh? Now, my theory is that the reason why my mom so badly wanted to believe I had schizophrenia was because, like I said, when I showed her in 2010, when I discovered the quadrant model, my mom immediately was like, oh, you have schizophrenia. That's why your shot got messed up. That's what she told me. She said, that's why your shot got messed up. That's why things started going bad, and that's why your dad started beating you up. Now, my mom said that. I'm not making it up. She said that when I showed her in 2010, right when they came to help me pack my stuff. I think the reason why she wanted to believe so bad I had schizophrenia was because they know they abused me in high school. They know the abuse that happened. It was bad. It was terrible. And I think that in their mind, they're thinking they have to justify it to themselves. Otherwise, it's too hard for them to live with themselves. So they're like, well, he must have had schizophrenia. Otherwise, they have to dehumanize me to justify what they did to themselves. Otherwise, it's too much for them to bear, to think, and that's why she wouldn't listen to me about the shoot-away machine, because it's like, then they would have to bear some of the blame for it. And I'm not even trying to give them the blame. I know it's a tragic situation. They don't know about the shoot-away machine. They're ignorant. So it's like, that's what I think happened. But I'm going to get more into details about everything. But yeah, but then anyway, so the doctor said, yeah, Ryan doesn't have schizophrenia. He doesn't have bipolar. He doesn't have any mental illness. And you guys and they wrote a whole paper out, and they said that I'm highly functioning And they said, you guys need to stop trying to make him take medicine. And that's what they told him. So I went back to my aunt's house, and I remember my aunt was so freaking pissed. Oh, and they also told my mom and aunt that they thought that they had mental illness and that they should take medicine and not me. And that was awesome when they did that. So the nurses took my side. Then when I got back to my aunt's house, my aunt was so pissed. And I remember my uncle was pissed too. And everybody was pissed. But my mom didn't believe it. So I'll get more into details on this, but I remember my mom and my aunt were talking on the phone, and they were making fun of me. And my mom was like, she said something like, so in the quadrant model, are there quadrants within the quadrants? And my aunt was like, ah, ha, ha, ha. And my mom was like, ah, ha, 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 ha. And they're like laughing, thinking they're funny. They didn't realize I actually discovered the theory of everything, but they're making fun of me. So it's pretty sad, pretty crazy, but I'll get more into details.